What's up, guys? Today I'm here to talk about Joey Badass. Joey Badass dropped an album earlier, I think it was in August, and it is now making rounds. At least on Twitter. I don't know if any actual headlines have appeared because he is canceling his tour that was planned to be happening. I think starting next week. Him, Absol, and Rhapsody were going on tour, and it was at smaller venues as well. Like at least the one near me was at like the local House of Blues, so nothing crazy. And with the three of them combined, similar fan bases, seemed like something they probably could have performed at and sold enough tickets for. But obviously, when it's canceled, now everyone's speculating that the ticket sales weren't as expected, and due to that they were canceling the tour. And obviously they haven't really spoken on it. All they said was, something outside of our control, leaves it up to the imagination. I know there are plenty of pretty, damning evidence against certain artists who cancel tours and say it's for one reason or another, whether it be family, and then people, and maybe it is actually for those reasons, but people then do some investigative research and find that majority of the tickets at that venue weren't sold, and that ends up looking like the more realistic reason on why they canceled the tour. At the end of the day, they don't disclose that. You can assume that, and it's probably a fairly safe assumption as well. But no one ever wants to basically admit that they didn't do well enough. There's actually somebody recently that actually did just admit that they didn't have the ticket sales. Let me look that up real quick. I'm back. Sorry for that brief interruption. It wasn't a rapper adjacent. I guess it is a rapper. T-Pain. T-Pain admitted recently that and I don't know how recently this was. I didn't really have much context, but it was through his streaming or whatever, so it had to have been fairly recent. And he admitted that he canceled his tour simply because he couldn't sell. And when he learned that they weren't selling and that was the route that they were going to take, he said his management tried to get him to make something up, say family issues or whatever easy excuse he could throw out there. And he just didn't do that. He was just straight up honest. Hey, I didn't sell enough tickets, and, I'm sorry, but this tour isn't happening. And I think that I can understand why. Obviously, perception plays a huge part in this industry and getting people to like your music. If they think you're not hot or you're not cool, those things can have a negative impact on you. Someone like T-Pain is far enough in his career that I don't think that should be nearly as big of a concern. You have a back catalog, the new music. No matter who you are after your prime, quote unquote, if that seems to have dipped and it's only your hardcore fans left, it's never going to be quite the same. You might still get ticket sales off of those hits, especially someone like T-Pain, a ton of classics. But people are expecting someone like T-Pain to maybe have the same level of hype around his tour that he did in 2010 or something. And I can understand, at the end of the day, you're going on tour, so that's all they're really looking at. Maybe not necessarily comparing it to different artists, but I feel like people just throw out reasonable expectations just because someone is quote unquote bigger than, it's T-Pain, he should be able to do this, and this. Says who? I think it's pretty normal for his fan base to have shrunk. I don't know what kind of venues he was doing. Obviously, that pretty much is, that has a huge impact on whether or not the tour ends up going through, especially, you're doing giant venue. It becomes immediately harder to, live up to that, especially in this modern age, with the prices of tickets and everything and all that. You really aren't going to be moving tickets just like you were back in the day. I don't know how much they were, but I just think it's just so expensive to go out to a show, not only for the price of admission and the inherent parking fee that's probably going to go along with that, but the prices at these venues for a drink, it's $9 for a drink, which is insane. So a lot of people probably just aren't going out to live shows as much, and it's a little bit of a dueling narrative with that, just because it is more expensive. But people are also saying that with the post-COVID thing, people are going to more music shows than ever, which I guess it could be true. I guess there's a way in both of or a reality in which both of those are true at the same time. But I just think artists need to start having more realistic. Back to the Joey thing, because that's kind of the main point of this video. Sorry for rambling. But I don't think his was sales because, like I said, it was him, Absol, and Rhapsody. Artists with fairly similar fan bases of a decent size, and at least near me, he was performing at the House of Blues. So for all three of them to be performing, like that seems like a reasonable venue for them to be able to fill out, if not close to. So I honestly don't think that it was due to poor ticket sales. I think Rhapsody even came out and said that that wasn't the cause, but obviously, as we just gone over, many artists will throw any other reason under the bus other than the reason that they're not, popping or doing hot. But I mean, I can understand people's knee-jerk reaction to make that assumption just because the album that he's touring didn't do fantastic first week sales. I'm not a first week sales guy. That shit's not important. I have many favorite albums of different years that came out and I loved that probably commercially may have been the low point for that artist, but that doesn't matter to me personally. But I can see why people online would have immediately moved to he's not selling tickets, just because not only is that a very common reason, but now we have like somewhat of a recent project you did that also points to you not being as poppin' as you once were. Like people just kind of start to form the narrative themselves. But I truly don't think that's what the reason was, because the venues they were going to seemed reasonable for the artist performing. Honestly, more than reasonable. It probably could have upgraded a little bit. I've actually never been to my local House of Blues. I was hoping for that to be my first show there. I guess it'll have to be somebody else, but like those are not crazy venues. Like they're decently sized. I'm not sure the approximate seating, but yeah, just I think that the people are just so quick to throw that at you when that might not even truly be the case. Like I said, I know it's a lot of times the case especially when they say it's for family. A lot of the times it's not for family. But with this one, I think that there actually was something beyond that we couldn't see that caused this. So who knows what it was. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think Joey is like just not at his prime in his career? Like, do you think he was just doing that bad and that the people online are right? Or do you think it happened to just not work out and now people are kind of shifting the narrative? But thanks for listening. I'll catch y'all later.